horror author William Pattison, aka Eric Morris, and welcome to my world. So sit back and experience a new dimension in talk. And make sure to have your lucky cup of coffee here, because this is the Coffee Vlog.
Yes, it does. First thing in the morning, I pour myself a cup. It helps me get myself going. It helps to wake me up.
Gorin Scares, everybody, and welcome to the Coffee Vlog. Sippy sippy. All right, I'm your host, William Pattison, King of Splatter Punk, and author of the Camp Crystal Lake novels. And my God, it's been a few years since I've done a coffee vlog. Well, the thing is that things have pretty much calmed down in the horror community and that, so there's not a lot of stuff for me to comment about and that. And I also had started a podcast called An Awakening of Horror that I use pretty much for commentaries as well. But now, of course, I'm doing a coffee vlog, and yes, you can see the wonderfulness of me. Anyways, alrighty, so yeah, I just happened to feel the urge to do this. No one was, pushing me to not to do this. I just really didn't feel that there was a lot of material for me to, sit here with stuff on. Oh, by the way, how do you like my earphones? The thing is that these are special earphones, and they have a sound dampening microphone, so you won't hear a lot of the background noise that you used to get, with me just using the microphone from the computer. Yes, it kind of looks like something out of Star Wars, like that guy from Cloud City, but as long as it works, why not? Anyways, yeah, so it's currently, when I'm doing this recording, it's towards the end of July. It's July 29th, and finally, Comic-Con is over for the year. For those of you who are unaware, yes, I do have issues with Comic-Con. San Diego Comic-Con specifically. No, I did not get thrown out of Comic-Con. No, I am not banned from Comic-Con. No, nothing like that. No. My issue with Comic-Con is very personal in regard to Bay Area fandom, and the fact that Bay Area Comic-Con did a horrible injustice to the Bay Area and Northern California area fandom. The thing was, a number of years ago, um, well, actually, let's start out with an explanation on this. When Comic-Con started out, they had two San Diego Comic-Con conventions. You had San Diego Comic-Con, which was in Southern California, and you had WonderCon, which was in San Francisco and was the Northern California comic book convention, the big comic book convention for Northern California. And WonderCon went on for years. I mean, it started out in the 80s and went through the 90s and stuff. I went there every year. And a lot of the fans depended on WonderCon. Because, we had a bunch of small little conventions that would happen, some of them across the bay and stuff, and one or two, like the creation conventions in San Francisco as well. But these were usually small ones. Creation conventions, they usually stuck with the Palace Hotel in downtown San Francisco until it went out. And WonderCon was the huge convention that had its home at Moscone Center. And so the thing is that, this was the big convention where, Star Wars, Star Trek fans, all the fandoms came together as one community. For Star Wars, they had the march of the stormtroopers that would go through the convention. I mean, you're talking about 200 stormtroopers. And you had the Klingon warriors who would, after the stormtroopers went, you had the Klingon warriors with their batlas and metlas. Yeah, this was before they stopped allowing you to carry weapons. And you had the Xena Warrior Princess fans who would come in, you had the women dressed in armor and stuff and that, and you had the horror icons that would come and march and stuff. And it was wonderful. It was a wonderful convention, and it always felt like home when I would go there. And it was one of the few conventions where they would have stage time. They usually had a theme every year for WonderCon, and they'd have like maybe 10 main guests, which were from a television show or a movie or something. And these guests would come out and sit in a theater in the middle of WonderCon. They had like a stage and all that. And these ones would either answer questions from the fans, or they would sit there and tell stories about their movie, their movie or that, or their experiences doing the movies or something. And it was wonderful, and every time one would finish, they'd have like a 10-minute break, and they'd bring on another one, and that uh, guest would show up, and they had tables set up in front of this theater area, and they would sit there and they would sign autographs and talk to the fans for 3 hours. Each one, every time they finished off their stage time, they'd go over and they'd sit in their spot, and people could get autographs for 3 hours. And it was wonderful. Absolutely wonderful. I remember a special time when I met Kevin Sorbo at WonderCon. He was on the stage, and I went up, and they had a microphone for the fans who wanted to come up and ask questions and stuff. And I went up and I blew Kevin Sorbo away because I asked him how it was to be an executive producer on Gene Roddenberry's Andromeda. And Kevin was like, "Whoa, you really look at the credits, don't you?" And I said, "Yeah." And I said, "Yeah." And how is it? What do you do as an executive producer? And he told me, "Oh yeah, I have a little bit of influence when it comes to the script and stuff, and I have an option that I can, if I wanted to, I could direct an episode or something." And it was just fun. And of course, smart people at the conventions, at those conventions, would head out 10 minutes before the end of the stage time and get into line to get their autographs. So I wasn't smart enough for this, and I went out. I lucked out though, because I ended up having to wait about an hour and a half to get Kevin Sorbo's autograph. But that was fine with me. And Kevin remembered me for my question, and he goes, "Oh man, no one ever asks about that. That really blew me away." And I was like, "Yeah, I like that, you know." But WonderCon was special to me. Shit, I met the love of my life at a WonderCon. And I got to spend a couple hours with a person from Star Trek that really meant a lot to me. I'm talking about Mark Leonard. He actually had a table at WonderCon about a year before he died. And, those who remember that Mark died a few months after Star Trek, these Star Trek 6 came out. And he did one Star Trek The Next Generation, well, 2-part Star Trek Next Generation episode before that was connected to Star Trek 6. But anyways, he died soon after doing that, and he was not in the best of health. He was actually in a wheelchair, and he was at this table, and this was actually when getting autographs was not this huge money cow that we have now. You could go to a convention, you'd pay for your picture, pay like $8 or $9 for a picture, and the actors would sign their autograph to it as a courtesy to their fans. Yeah, that's right, people. You used to get an autographed picture for $8 before people got greedy. Well, anyways, Mark was sitting there, and he was signing autographs for charity, for one of his charities, and for $10 you got a photo of him. He had different ones. He had him as the ape from Planet of the Apes. He had him as Sark from Journey to Babel, and he had him as Sark from Star Trek 4 and 5. Or Star Trek Star Trek 4 and Star Trek 3. And Star Trek 6. Yeah. Anyways, and what was sad to me was this wonderful gentleman was sitting there and nobody was coming to his table. Nobody. It fucking blew me away. Well, I had met Mark years before. I'm not going to talk about how I met Mark, but anyways, I went up there and bought 2 pictures. I bought 2 autographed pictures for him, made him very happy, and I stood there. This was when I could actually stand for any length of time, and I talked with him. We ended up talking for 2 hours, just talking about filmmaking and talking about Star Trek 3 and talking about all these different things, and it was special to me. It was like the last time I ever saw him, and few weeks later, I found out that he'd died. Anyways, yeah. So, WonderCon meant a lot to me. It was. It was like a home, and it was meant a lot to people in the Bay Area fandom. A lot to it. It was a place where we could come and congregate, all of us, not just not just individual groups, but all of Bay Area and the Bay Area fandom. Anyways, one year there was a notification sent because I was on the list, to get information on WonderCon. And they said, oh, well, Moscone Center is down for renovations, and WonderCon is going to be temporarily moved to Anaheim and be at the Anaheim Convention Center. Once Moscone Center is done with the renovations, WonderCon will come back for another fantastic year. Yeah, well, so we lost out on a year of WonderCon. Then the next year came and got another notice. Oh, well, unfortunately, Moscone Center is not finished with the renovation work, so WonderCon is staying for another exciting year in Anaheim. But it will be back the next year at its home at Moscone Center. Yeah, this was from San Diego Comic-Con Company saying that they were going to bring back WonderCon to San Francisco after Moscone Center was renovated. Well, Moscone Center was renovated, and guess what, people? Guess what? WonderCon didn't come back. WonderCon stayed in Anaheim and continues to be at Anaheim. San Diego Comic-Con stole our Comic-Con. Stole the Bay Area's Comic-Con. And some people have issues. Oh, well, I like WonderCon, and oh, yeah, I love it in Anaheim. It's so wonderful that it's in Anaheim. Fuck you. They stole North America's convention. There was an understanding that that was our convention. And because, Monsterpalooza has Monsterpalooza Jr., so we're taking WonderCon and, it's going to be our Monsterpalooza Jr. You fucking traitorous pieces of shit. So, I will not support WonderCon. I will not support San Diego Comic-Con or anything, because they took away our convention, and it caused fracturing in the Bay Area fandom. I'm not kidding you. You know, Bay Area fandom never came back correctly after that. You know, San Jose and, you know, Silicon Valley tried to make it up, you know, for the loss. They created Big Wow, which was it was a smaller convention. It wasn't really a Comic-Con, but it was close. I used to go to Big Wow. But yeah, people joked about it, going, "Oh yeah, Big Wow." It's, you know, it's like, "Oh yeah, Big Wow." Well, it's not WonderCon, and you know, we had lost creation conventions too. Uh, Several years before, creation stopped doing conventions in are part of the U.S. I don't even know if they're still in operation. So, yeah. So, you know, we ended up in 2018. Well, Big Wow went out. And in 2018, we got Silicon Valley Comic Con. And that was it was a big Comic Con. It was at the same place as Big Wow, but they took over the entire convention, San Jose Convention Center, and whereas Big Wow had you know, its box office in the lower part of the convention hall, Silicon Valley Comic Con put it in the back of the building in a tent so that they could maximize the use of the convention area. And, you know, I remember I went to the first one. I pushed myself to do it because thing is that by that time, 2018, because of the pills I was taking after my heart attack, and I ended up having a second heart attack, so they upped my pills. I was having trouble walking. And I ended up going to Silicon Valley Comic Con. I had to use a sitting walker. You know, one of those ones where it has a seat where you can stop and sit down, you know, for people with really weak legs and that. And because they changed how they did the tickets, I ended up having to literally it's I'm not kidding you. It was the equivalent to 6 blocks that I had to walk to get tickets, because it was like 5 blocks around the building to the back, and then you had another block worth when you went into the tent to go and get tickets. And you can imagine, it was torture for me. I got to Silicon Valley Comic Con at 1 o'clock, and believe it or not, people, I did not get into the convention until 3:30. because of having to walk 6 blocks up and 6 blocks back into the place, and waiting in this huge line to get my ticket punched to allow me in. And then the thing is, what was the royal kick in the pants is that they did not have the handicapped elevators available. I'm like, excuse me, how are you supposed to get up if you're like me and having to use a walker in that? Or if you're in a wheelchair. Oh, well, you're just going to have to try to get up the escalator. What? Yeah, because the convention was on the 2nd floor. The main convention area was on the 2nd floor, and you had 2 escalators. There. And so I ended up having to go up this escalator, and I have escalophobia, so I get dizzy on escalators anyways. So usually I use the elevator, but anyways, I had to do that and hold up this walker as well, this heavy walker. Because if you haven't used those, they're very clumsy to use because they have wheels on them and stuff. And they're built heavier so that you can sit. That was a bitch on the train too. So, anyways, yeah, I ended up because I had to take a trolley and I had to take a train to get to the convention place. I had to leave early. I had to leave around 5 o'clock to be able to catch my train home before the train stopped. Well, actually, the trolleys would stop at 7 o'clock. So I had to get the trolley over to the train station. So I had to leave early. So I only got a few hours, probably about 3 hours to be at the convention, which sucked. But anyways, yeah, so, all this crap is due to San Diego Comic-Con being assholes. So I don't feel sorry for San Diego Comic-Con when they're sitting there whining and crying about the fact that they only had 1/3 attendance this year. Yeah, 1/3 attendance for it, and people weren't happy with the convention, from what I gathered. I heard that there was a lot of complaints about it, that it wasn't as good as in past years. Well, I wouldn't know. I never went to San Diego Comic-Con. I wanted to before they stole WonderCon. Yeah, I'd actually tried 5 times to go to San Diego Comic-Con, and every year my plans got fucked up. So, yeah, it's bullshit. Anyways, yeah, well, I always have trouble with conventions anyways. Um, there's just too much politics in conventions and stuff, and you know, people start a new convention, and the other convention organizers try to bring the new convention down by trying to sabotage it. I remember at Epic Con, a bunch of assholes coming in and shutting the lights off during that, and I remember some convention organizer guests that came and caused some shit with Martinsville Horror Fest and paid off the venue to screw over Derek Young and that, and and also specifically targeted me to try to cause trouble with me at the convention. So I don't have a lot of thing for convention organizers unless they're friends of mine. I mean, Derek Young did a fantastic job with me, helping me to get into the 3 conventions that I that I was at. The first Days of the Dead, I was there with the Wolf Pack. We had a table in that. I wasn't overly thrilled with the way we were treated, though. At the after party, we were basically held at the door to the after party and told that we had to wait to see if Adolfo would let us into the after party, which is bullshit. We were promoted as guests, and we were being made us wait for a half an hour to get into the flippin' after party. Bullshit. But anyways, yeah. I don't know. And then of course, the fun I had with CreatureCon. Oh yeah, but that was after the convention. I had a great time at the convention. But afterwards, the organizer of CreatureCon listened to my cyberstalkers, these people who are not even, they're over in the other side of the country here, and they're sitting there saying that I tried to sell them books at CreatureCon. Give me a fucking break. All the other horror hosts at CreatureCon saw me there. I was a member of the public there. I did come to hang out with the other horror hosts. But no, I did not have a table. No, I wasn't selling anything. I actually bought stuff off the different horror hosts. I spent like $400 at that convention supporting my fellow horror hosts, just to be told by one of the convention organizers that I was on, that I was, that they were, what is it? It's like I was, they were judging to see if they were going to allow me to participate in any future conventions. That's another bunch of bullshit. It should be if I'm come to them and I ask if I can be a part of a convention, and if I'm willing to pay for a table, I should be uh, allowed. There shouldn't be this bullshit of sitting there going, well, such and such doesn't like you, so we're not going to let you be part of it. You know, this is the horror community. Supposedly, the horror community is a big family and we support each other. Bullshit. There's a small percentage of people in this community that think that they're superior to the rest of us and that they can sit there and say, oh no, we don't want you. You're not good enough for the rest of us. That's bullshit. You know, if I have the money and if I'm willing to pay for a table to rent a spot at your convention, don't sit there and say, oh, well, Jessica Cameron doesn't like you, and she said that, oh, well, you're a danger to celebrities and bullshit. Present proof before you make statements like that. Present proof. Have a good damned reason for making statements against a fellow horror host or anybody who is a personality in this community. It's complete and utter bullshit. It's elitism at its worst. Yeah. This is my commentary. If you don't like it, fuck you. I don't care. That's my opinion on it. It's my commentary. If you don't like it, don't do shit like that. I'm still angry about that after all these years. Because it's wrong. Completely and utterly wrong. And to sit there and tell my cyber stalkers, oh, well, we're considering if Mr. Pattison can participate anymore at our events. Bullshit. You know, you're lucky I didn't sue your asses for that. That is libel. That is fucking libel. Or actually, it's slander if you're telling somebody. But anyways, yeah. So yeah, I don't have a. You know, this is another example of how there's a fracture in the Bay Area fandom. That, you know, you have the haves and you have the have-nots and you have those who groups, and they don't allow people, you know, oh, well, we don't consider you good enough to be in our little community. Well, I don't give a shit. I'm doing my work. I'm writing my books. I'm doing my podcast. I'm still here. And you're not getting rid of me. And if you piss me off, I'm going to say something about you. Because it's bullshit. Which reminds me of another little thing that I wanted to talk about. Oh, yeah, I'm doing good this time. Hell yeah! You know, I've been holding a lot of this stuff in, so it feels good to let it out a little bit. Already on August 1st, we are starting Writers in Horror Recognition Month. I've been doing this for a few years now. And what it is I'm asking the horror community, whoa, I'm actually asking, to show a little recognition for 1 month. You know, if you have a website, post a profile of a writer who could use a little recognition, a little, you know, someone who you know you think could use the promotion or that. You know, tell people about these writers. And, you know, treat them like the artists that they are. Because authors and screenwriters in horror are treated like third-class citizens. I bet you guys didn't realize that. Oh, yeah. That's another thing with conventions. That is another thing with horror conventions is, you know, and I know the person who actually said this has been regretting it for years because he dared mouth off like this. I had a convention organizer for a multi-state convention group sit there and dare to say that writers and screenwriters belong at the back of the vendor's room, paying for their tables and just sitting there and shutting up. Yeah. That's what this person said. And every chance I get, I'll sit there and I'll remind him of this. Because you don't say shit like that to me. Because I will fight for my fellow authors. That is why I did Writers in Horror Month. I started it up. I put out, you know, for my work on it, I put out profiles of authors. Some of them are dead writers, some of them are, but I give them a little recognition. I tell people about them. And I post these profiles on the home website, official Writers in Horror Month .weebly.com. I'll be putting up links to this once it's officially Writers in Horror Month. Oh, sippy. But anyways, yeah. I'll be putting up that, and I'll be posting profiles for writers. Hopefully, some other people will do something to give recognition. If not, who cares? I'll do it myself. You know, one profile at a time. Because, you know, it's disgusting how writers are treated in this community. It really is. It's fucking disgusting. You know, horror awards. The Rondo Awards. They don't have an official writer, author award or best book award or that on the Rondo Awards. No, you have to write in an author, and it's not even acknowledgement for being a writer or an acknowledgement for the work. And I know a few other horror awards where they bunch writers, books, comic books, and all and autobiographies and stuff all together for one award. Yeah, all those in one award. So they only get one, there's only one award given per year. And usually it's a comic book or something, or an autobiography of a filmmaker or something. I've never seen a writer get one of these awards. Yeah, the only halfway decent award system that we have is the Bram Stoker Award. And that is done by the Horror Writers Association. Yeah, horror writers. They had to do their own award because the rest of them, Fangoria magazine and the rest of you assholes, will not do a writer's award. And that's bullshit. Sci-fi writers, they have a whole shitload of awards that they get. There's like 6 or 7 writers awards that writers can get. They have Grand Master awards. They have lifetime achievement awards for authors in the the sci-fi community. What is this? Why is it that horror writers and horror screenwriters are basically thrown to the side? It's bullshit, people. It is complete and utter bullshit. And it needs to be fixed. That's why I started Writers in Horror Recognition Month. Is for that. For the writers, the people who deserve recognition. Because if it wasn't for horror writers, horror storytellers, there would be no horror genre. Horror films have only been around for 122 years. 122 years. Think about how long we've had horror novels and that. Think about it. Think about how long. Treating horror writers as third-class citizens is bullshit. You should be ashamed. Every person in the horror community who allows this should be ashamed. That is the thing about it. Okay, well, that's all I'm going to say on horror writers and that. And just remember that all month in August is Writers in Horror Recognition Month. If you have a website, give some recognition and tell people that it is Writers in Horror Recognition Month. That is important. It's important. It's very important for this community. Anyway, so another thing that I want to, my last thing I'm going to talk about in regards to the, to conclude this edition of the coffee vlog, sippy sippy. Okay, well, let's talk about pre-orders and collecting collecting horror or fandom memorabilia and the bullshit that's going on in regard to pre-orders and stuff, and how you really can't go to a store, or rarely, you find the stuff that you want to collect at stores. Now, I remember when I was young, I remember in the 80s, I used to go to Toys R Us, go to my local stores, and I would find the latest figures from movies and stuff, the latest DC comic figures and stuff. Now they're making it near impossible. They're making it overly expensive. And, yes, they brought up the quality to an incredible rate where it's no longer, you're no longer looked at weird when you're an adult buying a Star Wars figure or something. But nowadays, it's annoying. It's torturous to go and try to get a figure that you want. I mean, seriously. You look at the Star Wars Black Series figures. Most of the time you put in pre-orders for a specific. I mean, look at when the Mandalorian came out. It used to drove me nuts. I wanted a Mandalorian figure for my collection. Ended up, my first Mandalorian figure was a pop, because that was the easiest way I found it at Barnes and Noble in a big pile of Funko Pops. Yeah, you couldn't find a Mando figure if it killed you. Same with Grogu when he was Baby Yoda. I lucked out. I went and ordered through Amazon and stuff and managed to get the Hasbro Baby Yoda figures for my family, and that we all, three of us wanted Baby Yoda figures. Baby Yoda, the plush Baby Yodas. And I managed to get us that for Christmas. Got one for myself a couple months later. But anyways, it's just ridiculous. And then, of course, you have these quote-unquote Comic-Con, San Diego Comic-Con exclusives, or free comic book day exclusives. And the thing is, after, you can find them all over the place. Yeah, you go to these different, like Funko website. Oh yeah, SDD exclusive Comic Con. Da 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 da. Yeah, you can get them. And they make a big deal about how, oh well, it's exclusive, so and then the thing is that what ends up happening is some jackasses go and buy them up at San Diego Comic Con and then double the price on them. So you go, your pop that would have cost you $15 at the convention now costs you $30 because it's a Comic Con exclusive and we've got it and you want it and you're gonna have to pay our price. We've got the gun up to your head, assholes. Anyways, yeah, I managed to get. You're gonna love this story. I managed to get the exclusive free comic book day John Constantine Hellblazer Funko Pop, and I got it 2 months after free comic book day, and I paid $15 for it. And I know what you're saying. Oh my God, William, how did you do that? How did you do that? That's amazing. That blows me away. Yeah, it does. It does. I just found it. I found it on a website, and they had it, and they, I believe it was Deep Discounts actually had it for the original price, and it was like, yes. And here it was supposed to be exclusive to this one website, and there it is. Anyways, one thing that royally irritates me, as I said, is the pre-orders. Everything has to be pre-ordered now. Because you can't find it at your local Target or something. I go over to my Target, and guess what? They have every Star Wars figure that I don't want. They've got shitloads of Rose Ticos at my local Target. Yeah, they've got all the ones that I don't want. They don't have any of the ones that I do want. And they don't have their quote unquote exclusives. Oh yeah, you can get them at Target. Fuck you. Didn't have those. I go to try to order them. Oh well, we're all sold out. You're gonna have to wait for a pre-order. And then, of course, oh, well, we're still sold out, so your pre-order is gone and you get nothing. Yeah. God, 3 years ago. This is an annoying story of mine. It just fucking irritates the shit out of me. Because it was soon after this that I decided, fuck you on pre-orders. Mezco had in a pre-order for a deluxe. It was like an ultimate John Constantine figure. Yes, I love John Constantine. I'm he's one of my favorite DC characters. Sorry, Superman. Sorry, Batman. But yeah, I like John better than you guys. And they had this thing. It was Mezco exclusive. They reused the Aquaman head for him, but that was okay because they gave you three other heads. Well, uh, two other heads with it. You had a uh, grinning John Constantine with this sarcastic grin on his face, and you had a beat up John Constantine with a swollen eye and stuff. And this figure came with a shitload of stuff. Swords, knives, um, magic book, different things to put on his arm to show him casting a spell and stuff, different hands. They had hands where he had flames shooting out of them, and he had, a hand where he had his lighter in it where he was going to flick it. Beautiful figure. I mean, I love that. Later on, I'd find one that they had for pre-order through a Japanese company that looked like Matt Ryan. It was the Matt Ryan Constantine, but it was too expensive for me. It was like almost $200. This Constantine wasn't cheap either. It was going to be $140. So I set it up so that my sister and my niece could go in halvesies on it and buy it for my birthday 3 years ago. Anyway, so they put in for it. They had it using my email address so that I could do the tracking on it. And I sat there and waited and waited. It said, okay, well, it's going to be available in 3 months. 3 months happened. Nothing. They changed the date to the next year. I'm sitting there waiting. Okay, well, it's going to be in March. Okay, 2 months after they changed the date, I get a message from the company saying, oh, well, we're sorry, we're canceling your pre-order. What? I'm waiting for the fucking, I've waited almost a year, and they cancel my pre-order on me. So my family tries again. We go on through another company, pre-order it again. And, March comes and goes, nothing. Nothing. They changed the date again. And this company cancels my pre-order again. My sister just says, oh, well, let's, I don't want to deal with this back and forth and that, I'm giving up. So I lost my birthday present for 2 people. Yeah. They just said, okay, well, tough shit. Oh, well. And so it's 3 years later, and this damn figure is still unavailable. It's still up for pre-order, And now, all of a sudden, they're saying October 10th. 3 years. 3 years of this shit for a pre-order. I gave up. I gave up on it. Because, for one thing, I can't afford it now. And for another thing, I'm sick of this crap. I put in a pre-order on it and they canceled it. Because they changed the date. Fuck you. Change the date. Now there's another Constantine figure that I want. And I'm trying to buy it on my own. But I am fuck you in regards to pre-orders. I'm not putting in a pre-order. I refuse to put in a fucking pre-order. Because since then I've put in pre-orders for stuff, and what ends up happening is either they cancel the pre-order, or when the release date happens after it's changed a few times, it happens at a time when I don't have the money available, and I lose my pre-order again. Don't you just love that? Doesn't that just thrill the shit out of you? Oh boy, it does me. Fuckers. Anyway, so this John Constantine thing that I have that I want to get, it's the Page Punchers series from Todd McFarlane. Beautiful figure. I love it. It's a very good representation of John. It comes with a collector's card and a comic book, because it's from the Black Adam series, and so you get an exclusive comic book. You get this John Constantine figure that was done by Todd McFarlane, and it's only $24.99. But they said that this thing was going to be released on July 15th. So I was like, oh, okay, well, I'll save my money, and July 15th happens, they should be releasing it, and I can just buy it rather than pre-ordering. July 15th came up, and they changed the release to July 29th. And it's like, oh no, not this again. So I'm having to wait until my next check, and hopefully, I'll be able to put in an order for one of these. I'm not, as I said, I'm not pre-ordering. Fuck that. I'm not pre-ordering. No fucking pre-order. No. I'm sick and tired of pre-orders. Sick and tired of that crap. So more than likely, I'm not going to end up with this figure either. Or I might end up getting it months from now, probably a year from now, off of eBay, and it's gonna cost me double. So yeah, I have issues in regard to pre-orders, and I have issues with the way these companies are now handling these figures because it's complete and utter bullshit. And I know a lot of you agree with me on that, and unfortunately, we are stuck with this stuff. So, anyways, so I feel for you, horror collectors. I really do. There's a lot of figures that I want to get. I want to get the NECA Frankenstein. I want to get the NECA Wolfman, and that I want to get the NECA Puppet Master ones for my Puppet Master collection. But yeah, not gonna pre-order. Fuck them. I'm not gonna pre-order. Fuck you. I'm not gonna do it. If I could go to a Comic-Con or something, or go to a convention, I can usually find stuff, and I can usually get a good price on it because I'm good. I'm good at bartering. I usually get good prices when I go to a Comic-Con or a convention. I get it for less. Just really good prices. I talk the ones down on the price and that, and it's fun for me. But I haven't been able to go to any conventions, and I don't see myself going to any conventions right now because of COVID and monkeypox, and just the fact that I can't walk as far as I can, as I used to. I'm starting to really lose weight, which is good. I went from 340 pounds to right now I'm at 310 last time I had myself weighed. And before that I was at like 300. So there's a possibility that I can get down. If I can get down to 250, I'll be happy as hell, because that's the weight I was in high school, and up until I was 34 years old, I was 250 pounds. Anyways, that's a long story on how I ended up at 300, and it has nothing to do with me overeating. And I'm not willing to share it. But let's say that I don't like Weight Watchers. I really hate. I should have sued Weight Watchers for what happened with that. But anyways, yeah, that's something I'm not going to talk about. Anyways, so that's it for this edition of the coffee vlog. Hopefully I'll do another one in the future. Me and my sexy earphones and stuff, and my cup of Folgers coffee, and sit there and comment on stuff and talk about this stuff that bothers me about the horror community and that. Well, anyways, so as always, keep America strong, watch horror films, and drink your coffee. Catch you later.
International.